Welcome back, everybody, to episode 62 of the Park Lane podcast. We are back in video format. For those that did tune in on Wednesday night for our FIFA stream, we're now back to see our lovely faces. And we're not back to talk about a Spurs win, unfortunately, but how it could have been. Anyway, let's get right into it. I'm joined by my three co-hosts, as always. Harry Scarf, how are you doing, mate? Fresh from the game?
Yeah, very good, thank you. Yeah, not long got in, not the win we wanted. I still think that we're on the right path, etc. People getting carried away, but looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah, definitely, mate, definitely. And Kallum, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Trying to live my best life.
You look hopeless at this point, but I suppose that's what Spurs does to you, right?
Exactly, mate. Exactly. It's ruining me. It's ruining me week on week.
And Wynnie, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. We've got a lot to discuss. Just picking out a few things. Matty Cash, etc. Incompetent officials. The list continues. So let's dig into it, shall we?
Exactly. As some of you know, I do tend to write a list now as I'm watching the game of things to talk about. But I'm going to be completely honest. At half time, I wrote so much information down that I just gave up in the second half. So we'll talk forever. But there's been a lot of you in the chat since before we were meant to start. So apologies to you. We had a few technical issues. So we are good to go. I'll shout out to all of you now. So Jay is always, for some reason, half an hour early. And it said, good evening, lads. It's a shame that we couldn't take them chances. We played really well and deserved something out of it. The team he picked was a bit of a shock, but surprisingly did really well. Barney is in, saying, evening, Luke, Harry, Wynnie, and Kallum. Thomas is in, saying, evening. Johnny is in.
Johnny.
And anybody else, I'm just scrolling through some of these comments. Bear with me. Big shout out to Wynnie, who hosted our FIFA stream on Wednesday night. Jay said, Wynnie, that EA Sports FC 24 stream was really good and enjoyed it. Keep it up. So
love that.
Well done to you, Wynnie. And obviously me. But And Pab's in saying, hey lads. Hey. So let's get into the start of it. So start of it, we'll talk about Jay's comments. So he mentioned about the lineup. So there were quite a lot of changes in today's lineup. And, before the game started, I was considering, who was going to play where, because we had the likes of Brian Hill, Brennan Johnson, obviously Kulusevski was in the team, and then Giovanni Lo Celso, Bentancur, Emerson Royale. We had, Ben Davis was in, when we looked at that team sheet, you could probably figure out where it was going to go, but it took me until a couple of minutes into the game, Harry, to really understand exactly where each player was playing. But Hill started on the left, Johnson on the right, Kulu kind of in midfield, along with Bentancur and Lo Celso, and Emerson Royale at centre back. What do you make of it all? That lineup. What did you think when you saw it?
I was surprised, but I was very happy because I've been on a couple of shows in the week talking about, is it time to put Kulusevski in midfield? Can Gil play that number 10 role? So to see a completely changed midfield was like a breath of fresh air. No disrespect to Dyer, but I think that change had to be made. Emerson coming in centre back, it just made sense. And I think, to be honest with you, I just think he got the lineup right, and I don't think that's the reason we lost. And I like Luke, I completely agree with your tweet before the game. It's a bold lineup from a bold manager, and I like that. We're not under Conte, where he knows that Dyer didn't work against Wolves, but he'd still play him in the next game. He's not afraid to change that, and I like that. And I thought we were really, really good, really, really positive-minded today. So it's such a shame to come away with nothing, because that lineup and that performance deserved more. But yeah, it was a surprise to see it. And like you said, I wanted to, you only took a couple of minutes to find out, wow, in what players were in which position. I was like, is Kulusevski going to play the 10? Will Gil play the 10? Etc. Johnson, Kulusevski, what side will they start? So it didn't take long, but no, I was happy with the lineup, and that's not the reason we lost.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned my tweet, because I really wanted to write, it's a bold lineup from a bold manager, but unfortunately I don't think Andy's bold, so I had to write bold. But anyway, Bit of fun for you. Wynnie, what do you think of Emerson Royale today at centre-back? It's an interesting choice. Like we spoke last week about the options that we potentially had to play at centre-back, and nobody called for Emerson Royale playing centre-back. But there were times I felt like he, like for the Ollie Watkins goal, I felt like him and Ben Davies between them could have done better, and it's probably the fact that they're wingers that they let the goal in. But I thought, apart from that, it didn't look like we were playing two fullbacks at centre-back today.
No. Ben Davies, in particular, he's, like I said, we've said before, he's used to playing centre-back. He's played there for Tottenham. He's played there for Wales. And that's where he plays for Wales. He doesn't just, he hasn't just played there for Wales. That is his position. So, Emerson Royale, look, like you say, it didn't look as though we were playing fullbacks all across the pitch. But the problem was, as you mentioned, for the goals, it was just it's all to do with like his positional awareness. So being a fullback, you don't have to worry too much about where you are on the pitch or what's around you. But a centre back, you have to pay a lot more attention. And unfortunately, with a few games, I wouldn't be object to seeing him there again next week. I say that through gritted teeth. We obviously have Man City, but I don't think he did a bad job. And it's like you say, a couple of lapses in concentration for the goals, and unfortunately, that's what we pick up on because they score from it. Otherwise, he did okay. It wasn't a bad performance. But I mean, I don't know what else I would have done. I mean, dropping Dyer was the correct thing to do because he had an absolute stinker. And as Harry just mentioned, it's refreshing to see a manager go, look, you were crap, so I'm not going to play you there again. It's as simple as that. Whereas, like what H said, Conte was just repetitive. If it's broken, normally, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But if it is broken, fix it. And that's what Ange's done today. But unfortunately, it didn't really get the desired effect.
Yeah, definitely. And there was a time when he as well, like, if you remember, but Pedro Porro got caught in trouble, and then the ball got played to, I think it was Diaby at the time, and then it got played across again, and Emerson Royale came in with a slide tackle to clear the ball. And it's just little things like that he did do well. And, usually he's all right defensive, Emerson Royale. But for me, like, it wouldn't be the first thing I thought, like, oh, do you know what? Stick him centre-back. Like, he'll be absolutely fine. But sounds a bit like our FIFA stream, to be honest. But he did all right. Better than he did striker, eh?
I know, yeah. He wasn't very great up front, was he? Or maybe that was just us. I don't know.
Exactly. But Kallum, what were your thoughts about Eric Dyer being left out today? We spoke last week again, and we discussed, would it be Davis? Would it be Dyer? Who did we believe? I thought that Davis would have been the one, but it looks like he has a lot more faith in him than Andrew does on Dyer. What do you make of all that? Because I thought towards the end of the game, he would have brought Eric Dyer on to go a bit more attacking, but instead he left Emerson Royale on, which is, fair enough. What do you make of all that?
It's such a difficult one because I remember us speaking, was it last week and maybe the week before, and we was all saying, hopefully Phillips is there. Then he does his leg in this week. And when it comes down to it, Dyer was caught ball watching last time against Wolves for both goals. So something had to give. And ironically, Ben Davies got man of the match last time out. So it does show that there's more faith probably in Davies than Dyer, I would say, from Ange's side. But what honestly could Ange do this week, in all honesty? Could he really afford to throw Dorrington in? Not really. It's bold choices, but they was enforced choices, I think, within reason. He didn't really have that many other options. And within reason, like you said, Royale's got a decent defensive side. He can play as an inverted fullback. So he used to drop into that back three at times under Conte and then dropped in this year. So it's one of them where you can't look too much into it. And just gone with what resources he had at his disposal at the end of the day within the defensive parameters.
Yeah, definitely. And when you look at, Eric Dyer under Ange Postecoglou, like, Ange must really dislike Eric Dyer, right? Because he brings him in because he has to bring him in. Like, he didn't play him at all in pre-season. He brings him in for 1.5 games approximately, and then just drops him straight away for a fullback. Like, it's just, as you say, poor choice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's being brutal, and it's like you say, something's broken, you change it. It was broken last week, but Dyer always splits opinions. He does something magical in the game that you think, oh wow, it could be the old Dyer playing against them alongside Dembele, Wanyama, all of them, and then he does 20 things wrong, and you just think, in all honesty, how are you still here? And all this stuff, it racks my brain. I used to have hair when Dyer first came to Spurs. Look what Dyer's done to me. Look what Dyer has done to me. So it's so difficult to say. And yeah, Emerson had an all right game today. Davis was all right. Davis was good last time. Dyer was bad. But then Dyer had a sublime game against Chelsea. Mate, all of our first choice centre-backs are out, either through reckless idiocracy or bloody an unfortunate hamstring injury. So, I mean, it's on the club that they've left us short, but Ange made that decision to get rid of Sanchez. So, what can we say? We're stuck with what we've got. Simple as that.
Yeah. Fair enough. Thomas has said, "Is it just me?" But it says this was streamed 22 hours ago. Well, unless we're some kind of like AI and we've just been superimposed into it. We are
I had
here.
that the other day. Stupid.
Yeah. Don't panic. YouTube and StreamYard do weird things together. So
That's for sure.
Start some kind of dodgy video, isn't it? Anyway, so Harry, 3 minutes in, and we could have got off to one of the best starts I've ever seen. Udogie was played in over the top, one-on-one with the keeper, took an unbelievable touch, and then somehow blazed it miles over the crossbar. Like, what did you make at that moment?
Well, pure frustration, because it would have been the perfect start. Villa have to come out and play. And again, it echoes, the Chelsea game in terms you get that first goal, you get a good start, and potentially you could run away from it. We didn't do that. Listen, I know he's the defender, but come on. He scored some goals for Udinese last season. He knows what it's like one-on-one with a keeper. You practice these type of things. Any player all over the pitch in training, it's the basics. If me or you or anyone here missed that, we'd be kicking ourselves. So for a professional footballer in Destiny Udogie, who's a fantastic player, well ahead of his age, be very disappointed because he didn't just miss it. He missed it by a country mile. It was, close to going over the stadium in the back of the net. So very worrying, but yeah, could have been the perfect start. Would have been a nice move, but the wrong player at the wrong time.
Yeah, definitely, mate. It was a shocker, to be honest. Like, when he's done all of that, like the ball's come over, he's taken the touch, and he's tried to just lift it over the goalkeeper, but unfortunately he's done a left back finish and got it horribly wrong. But Wynnie, 13 minutes into the game, Son is played through and misses. He is flagged off offside in the end, but again, misses a tap in. Like, what is happening with the finishing in today's game? Because it didn't, it was a bit like when we played Luton. Do you remember when we played Luton? And then we went down to 10 men and everyone was like, oh, we've missed all these chances. Like, this is going to come to bite us. Unfortunately, Villa aren't Luton, and it did come to bite us in the end. But what was up with the finishing, like early doors?
I don't know. I think it was. If I'm honest, it was such a frantic start. Like there was just too much going on. Like every time, because obviously Villa play their high line, we seemed to be in every attack, and there was just chances after chance after chance. And look, we can't expect only someone like Harry Kane could put away every chance. If you put Harry Kane in a situation one-on-one with a keeper or whatever, or if you give him a chance, he's putting it away probably 8, maybe 9 times out of 10. I'm that confident. But, other players, not everyone's like that, unfortunately. It's just one of those situations. We've relied on Sonny so much this season. And you know what? His finishing this season has been exceptional in comparison to other seasons. Like, the finish against Arsenal, how he managed to just put that little death finish into the far corner. It was a brilliant finish. And the one thing, obviously he's got his criticisms at the moment, and I know a load of, rival fans and fans that aren't of Tottenham are questioning why we stick Son up front. But his best attribute now is his finishing. It used to be other things. He used to be a great one-on-one player. His speed used to be, unreal. Whereas now, as he's getting older, it's his finishing, and he's nice and composed. But look, we can't expect it every week. But it was a ridiculous start, and probably 20, 30 minutes in, we could have easily have been 3, 4, 5, 6, but we wasn't. So we've just got to take it on the chin.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It was really frustrating because, we saw how kind of quiet Villa were early on, and the game could have been out of sight, as you say, like within the first 20 minutes, I'd have said the game could have been done. And, what a start it would have been for this team, because let's not forget, there was at least 5 players that wouldn't usually play in our lineup playing today, including 2 centre-backs and an entire midfield. Bear in mind, obviously, Bentancur, but
probably more than that.
Yeah, we'll come to him in a minute. But today, Kallum, like Bentancur and Pedro Porro were like really, really clinical in terms of their passing. Obviously, we'll talk about what happened to Bentancur in a minute, but Pedro Porro as well. Like that's something that I feel with Pedro Porro's game has definitely improved this season. But some of those balls that were being played over the top, or even little flicks around the corners. There was a little flick to Brian Hill, I think it was, or something like that, where they just flicked it kind of between the legs, little Cruyff flick, or I don't know exactly what you call it, but just there was some sensational touches, and everyone kind of looked like they were flowing today. What did you make of those two, especially with their passing?
They offered a different dynamic to the game, which we wanted. Bentancur playing through the lines, being able to do that. Porro was getting a lot of space down. What we thought we would, he was getting a lot of space down in front of Digne and getting around him and beating him 9 out of 10 times today. So it was actually really good to see, and it was nice to see the link up between them, because it meant that we had 2 outlets who were trying to create. And like you said, Porro's game has definitely come on a lot more this season, but he's still suspect defensively. He's still suspect around behind him. That's the thing. So I would always say we've got to be mindful of that. But it was so good to see Bentancur in his first start in 9 months, was it, since January? So, I mean, H was obviously there. So H, was he magical, or was he still a little bit here and there sort of thing?
He was probably the best player on the pitch in terms of what he offered and creative point of view. Not the Bentancur we saw of last season, etc., for that first period, but he was still very neat with his passes and was very creative. So I know we're going to get into it, but it's a real shame for him. But that is the risk of it, isn't it? If someone coming back from an ACL starting them. So it's great to see Bentancur back, and I'm just hoping that we will see him again, because the worry is with an ACL is that this is one of the only, if not the only, injury where if you get a similar injury in that position in the weeks or months after, that it can be longer than the original time you're out, which is slightly concerning considering injury problems. But yeah, I thought it was good, Kallum.
Porro, any much better than him creatively, or what do you think?
From Porro, don't be judgmental, but I don't think he was great. His set pieces were atrocious. And he was, I don't know, I love his passion, but I don't think it was his best performance. But Bentancur was definitely, again, in terms of creativity, looking very good. I'm not sure about Porro, but as Luke says, his neat passes between him and Bentancur were really good.
Yeah, definitely. And Harry, it kind of got off to, an even better start for Lo Celso, because the ball fell to him at the edge of the box and he's absolutely leathered it. It's taken a small deflection, but it's a hell of a strike to keep it down from that range, the edge of the box, in the heat of the moment. And Spurs go 1-0 up, and you're in the ground at this point. Like, I wanted to kind of take just your head off it for a minute, but how is everybody kind of feeling around you? Like, did it kind of feel like we could go on and score more in this game?
It absolutely did. It was relief, because we've been through a difficult month, and we had chances of that game where we hadn't taken, and we thought, oh, here we go again. So it was a bit of a relief, and we absolutely thought we could push on and see it. But in terms of the goal itself, let's be absolutely clear. I'm definitely not Lo Celso's biggest fan. I've made that very clear, and I will continue to make that clear. I'd love to be proven wrong, and I was absolutely delighted for him when he scored, and I did not expect it to be him. I don't want to take anything away from him, and I'm not justifying, but if he doesn't take that deflection, for me, it's an easy save from Martinez. But, you know, he hits it well, first time, outside the box, so I don't want to take that away from him. It was impressive. But we were all delighted at the time because, you know, again, a quick start, you know, we hadn't taken our chances and we knew that Villa would have to come out and play from there, which should have played into our hands. So, yeah, good start. Very, very happy. And a good strike. Deflected, which didn't help, of course, but I don't take anything away because he caught it beautifully. Yeah,
definitely. And Kallum, like, it's a brilliant goal from Lo Celso. You know, it is nice to see, you know, a player like that score a goal that you know he is capable of. But then immediately Spurs conceded. Okay, after a long VAR check, it was offside. But do you know what annoys me, right, Kallum, about these VAR? And I want to talk about this, is that they never have a straight camera angle. I don't know if you watched it on Sky Sports, like I did, but they showed two angles. They showed one where he looked onside, based on whoever, I think it must have been Emerson Royale, like his body. And then they showed the other angle, which was like on the goal side, where it showed that Ollie Watkins was offside. And that's the angle they decided to take it from. But neither of them were dead straight. One was like this, and one was like this. It was bizarre.
I don't know how they was trying to put... At one point, one of the commentators, I'm sure, said that the defender was offside. I don't know how the hell you could put your own defender offside and all that in that bit. So that's like what you're saying, how they're measuring it from one side of the man on this side and then one side. I didn't see any bloody lines drawn whatsoever. And this is how frustrating it is. And I mean, it must be havoc for anyone in the bloody stadium with him. At least we can see what's going on TV. In the stadium, you're probably thinking, fucking hell, what's going on here? Not this shit again and all that. And yeah, I don't understand how something where if you just got to draw a line straight across, if he's over the line, he's offside. If he's behind the line, he's onside. And for 4 or 5 minutes of all of that crap, and yeah, it was given offside, but you know, when them checks take so long, you're thinking this is going to be given here and all that. It was ridiculous. So it just takes all the fun out of the game again, mate. It was one of them where I was just thinking, just get on with it. If it was a goal, just freaking give it. Just let us get back to it and see how we do it. But yeah, I get your frustration where as soon as we score, they go at the other end and do it. It shows how we hadn't even got it in our head. Let's put it that way.
Can I just interject slightly? Because we're on the subject of offsides and clear offsides and not clear offsides.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? First of all, Luke, what do you think about obviously the Arsene Wenger offside rule?
I don't know, because like if you go to a point where it's like a full human body away.
All I'm saying is Richarlison's going to be top goal scorer if this is the case. If this comes in next season, you're going to be right because Richarlison's going to be top goal scorer, mate.
You know, is it the fact that if I'm running like this, does my back, like shoulder or shirt line of my arm keep me onside because of the movement of my body? Yet if my back arm is slightly forward in the other running, do you get what I mean? Like coming back from
I like that it's clear and concise. If there is daylight, you are offside. Yeah. If there's not daylight, you are onside. I like that idea. However,
oh my God, there's going to be a lot of goals.
Oh yeah, but there's going to be a whole lot of controversy as well.
Yeah, can I just quickly jump in and say I don't think it's a good idea to change it. I think the actual rule is okay, but like Kallum says, they are overcomplicating it. Just show the clear angle. Show us in the stadium as well. Why do you need to complicate it with your different fonts, your different lines, and your different camera angles? Make it very, very simple. And, don't be also petty about it as well. It's, if it's clear and obviously offside, you disallow it. I don't agree with taking 5-6 minutes to decide whether, a strand of hair or a strand of hair on your arm is offside. I don't agree with that. If it's clear and obvious to the human eye, you give it. But for me, you're taking away from the linesman or referee who should have the majority of the power. I'm glad Villa's first goal was disallowed, but it's really petty. If you look at it, I can't see how it's offside, but they've proper analysed it. It's crazy stuff. But I think Arsene Wenger's always going to make it worse. So that, and I don't like that for any team. It's just not fair. The clear and obvious ones you disallow. Not in the Everton game today, not with the offside, but with something else. It's like, for example, with their penalty, referee gives it as a dive. It's not clear and obvious. Therefore, you stick with the on-field referee's decision. If it's clear, which it wasn't for me, then you give it. So VAR is not serving its purpose. If it doesn't serve its purpose, then it should go. Bye-bye.
Then maybe the Arsene Wenger rule does make sense because, as Wynnie said, at least then it is clear. If there's daylight, there's daylight. There's no argument about that.
One thing that I have noticed as well, there never seems to be a camera that is directly in line with the box across. So if you want to draw a line, get that camera, one side and the other side, and you meet it along there. And if they're in front of it or behind it, then that's where you can get your line, and then you use your overhead. They don't have it, but to be fair,
it runs down the edge of the pitch or something, with a line on it, and then a camera that runs.
There's enough bloody journos with cameras down there, so I mean, even they could bloody help out. It'd be more help. But I mean, VAR was down for about 10 minutes today anyway, wasn't it? Because it missed that Hill penalty right at the start.
Yeah.
So
I know, forgot to turn it, turn the computers on, didn't they? But
technical problems, just like us.
Yeah, exactly. But Wynnie, there was a reason why I waited to come to you, because I wanted to talk to you about Matty Cash. You're probably the most angry person to talk about. By the way, before we get onto that, this fucking goal, by the way, was absolutely outrageous. Did anyone see it?
Incredible. Yes. From such an average player as well. That's what makes it even better.
That's there's already goal of the season. He has no right to score that. That's top.
If that comes from a Haaland or someone else like that, then you're like, okay, it was brilliant, but they're capable.
The power he generated though is unreal. That was superb.
It was absolutely insane.
He looks like a mannequin as well, doesn't he? Anyway,
someone said he looks like the Bundesliga logo.
Jesus.
You should have stolen that and used that for yourself then.
No, it's fine.
Anyway, let's talk about Matty Cash, because Rodrigo Bentancur was pretty much running the midfield, doing everything that...
He's a bit of a wanker.
And then, there was a really, really needless high tackle from Matty Cash. Now, if nothing happens and Bentancur doesn't get injured, I probably wouldn't even really be discussing it, to be honest. I don't think it was worthy of a red card. I think it was just a dangerous tackle, but I think a mistimed tackle at best.
Interesting.
But with him now being injured, that put us into a real predicament, and we had to bring on Harry's best mate, Højbjerg, who stunk the place up. But anyway, we'll talk about that.
He done well.
Yeah, he passed backwards well. He went backwards well.
He's really creative.
Anyway,
for the Villa forwards going that way, mate, he was.
What did you make of the tackle, Wynnie? Because I know you were pretty animated on our WhatsApp group.
Yeah, look, I'm just put your hands over your ears for a minute, H. It's fucking disgraceful. That's what it is. I don't care what you say. Absolutely disgraceful. You're telling me that he's gone to win the ball? No chance has he gone to win the ball. Now, what I would say, you said you thought it wasn't worthy of a red card. I will tell you why it is 100% worthy of a red card. What was the problem with Romero? What did he get sent off for? Endangering an opponent. Are you telling me that Matty Cash has not endangered Bentancur? 100%, of course he has. He's endangered him, regardless of whether he caught him. Thankfully, it's you can come back now, H. It's okay. Thankfully, what I will say is it's been reported that it is an ankle injury and not a knee injury. So that's a little bit of positivity that it's not a reoccurrence of the ACL. But look, what I will say is it's disgusting. And Matty Cash, let's be honest, he has got a history of doing it. He ruined, a long part of our season through injuring Doherty when he did it, or Doherty, however you want to pronounce his name. I still don't know. But he did it then, and you know, kind of derailed our season when we were looking really, really good with him. Forced a good save from Martinez. We'll get onto that, I'm sure. But yeah, look, Matty Cash knew exactly what he was doing. He was frustrated. He was pissed off that they had just gone behind, and just lashed out into a tackle. 100% worthy of a red card. And do you know what?
Yeah.
I don't like to wish injuries on people, but if the same kind of tackle came his way and derailed his season, I'm all over it, and I'll sit there and I'll be very, very happy. I'm very, very annoyed, and mainly because it's Benton. You know, if it was anyone else, I would still be annoyed. But it's Bentancur, someone who you could see was just absolutely, you know, abject in the fact that he's only just come back from a massive, massive layoff, and we don't know how long he could be seen on the sidelines again. And if it's me, if I'm, you know, someone else on that, some other Spurs player on that pitch, I'm going straight through Matty Cash the next time, but no one did, so I was a little bit disappointed. But you know, it is what it is. But for me, it's a straight red card for endangering an opponent, which is the same thing that Romero got done for. Okay,
last point on this, because we are going to have to move on because we've taken up a lot of time with this game. But if he hadn't injured Bentancur, do you honestly think your mindset would be the same? Like, would you be calling for a red card if he wasn't injured?
Well, no, I wouldn't be. But I don't think that's like an issue. It's because, regardless, it was still endangering an opponent.
Yeah. No, and that's fair enough, and that's a good analysis. You know, like it can be not a dangerous tackle, but you can still endanger an opponent because you caused an injury, right? Like,
you are spot on in the fact that if he didn't get injured, this wouldn't be talked about now.
No.
But Cash's actions had a consequence.
Yeah. But then we could look at him on against Andre Gomez.
Yeah.
Where he, you know, that wasn't intentional.
No.
And he didn't mean to break his leg, but he did. And so he got sent off for it.
But yeah, and it was reckless, and it was endangering an opponent. And that's what I want to allude to, is it was endangering Bentancur, regardless of who it was or what it was. He endangered him, and as a result of his tackle, he got injured. So,
you know what? You've changed my mind. Red cards all round.
There was plenty of red card opportunities in this game, mate.
Yeah. Let's move on to the 45 plus 6th minute. And Spurs just couldn't help themselves and went behind Kallum to a really, really good goal. Let's be honest. Like the free kick from Aston Villa was absolutely sensational. I think it was Douglas Luiz, maybe. It was sensational.
Yeah,
and a brilliant header. Do you know what I read on Twitter, by the way? Someone said, the header went straight to where Vicario was standing just as the ball was coming in. Well, what do you expect him to do? Stand in the fucking corner of the goal and just wait for the ball to hold his hands? Like, people are mental. But anyway, it was a real kick in the teeth at that point, Cal, wasn't it?
Well, the first one, what is Vicario? Fucking scarecrows. He meant to just stand there all 90 minutes just scaring people away. So show some demented idiots are on Twitter, but what can we say? Yeah, it comes back to that mentality issue, I think, as well, because we'd controlled the game for nearly 40 minutes up to that point, and to go behind before half time, I thought, yeah, maybe we could pull it back and do that. But it was a good goal, a good delivery. We stood off the man as usual, and we let Torres score. Simple as that. And I mean, I've always liked Pau Torres. I would have taken him when he was linked to Spurs a couple of years ago. So it just sums it up. Another player that was linked to Spurs that we was all meant to be getting, and he bloody scores against us again. So,
you know what? I was literally writing down on my notepad before he scored. I was writing down saying, I actually think we did all right not getting Pau Torres, because he hadn't been like, I didn't think he'd been that good in the game. And then a few moments later he scored, so I had to cross it all out.
Can we just say though, because for me personally, talking about this goal, I don't think there was any defensive errors in there. I don't think we've been, I don't think we've been particularly shit defensively. I think it was a fantastic ball in, regardless of what you look at. It was a fantastic ball in, and what Pau Torres must be 6'4", if not maybe about that. A massive defender getting a head onto it into the corner. I think it was a very, very good goal. Sometimes you have to sit back and go, do you know what? That was a good move, and not a good move, but it was a very good set piece, and it was a good header. We knew taking Dyer out, who was our tallest player on the pitch was probably Bentancur. And then obviously he's gone and he's left the pitch and we've replaced him. Our tallest player after that was probably Emerson Royale, who's probably not even 6 foot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
When you play fullbacks at centre back, that's the problem. You have a height issue with crosses.
So I don't think there was anything more than that we could have done. I mean, obviously, I think H has probably got a different opinion. What do you think? What else could we have done?
For me, it's really, really, really poor defending. Personally, I'm not going to deny it's a well-worked goal, but not being funny, I'd fancy myself to put the ball in the box that Douglas Luiz did. But no, it's a good ball. It's on Ezra. It's on he's on Pau Torres' head, and he scores from there. There's no one marking him. We got away with it. I wouldn't mind if that's the first time it happened in the game. It's one lapse of concentration, but Villa's goal was exactly the same. Not being funny, pass from John McGinn into Luca Digne. He whips the ball in the box. There's Diaby free. There's Watkins free. Either of them could have taken 5 touches and still scored. So for me, I know we're not playing with centre-backs, but it is poor. I think me or you could do a better job. But no, I'm not going to take anything away from the goal because it's perfect delivery. Porro's delivery, they put our set pieces to shame and Porro to shame in particular. Really well worked goal from Villa, but you expect that with a tall side, so we should have seen it come in personally.
Well, I think that talking about that, Harry, actually, I know you mentioned it twice now. Like, I think you can say the same for the defensive. I personally think there's any defensive error there. If you look at that line from the TV, because obviously we had the luxury of them watching it, see if it was offside, you can see a perfectly straight line from Spurs. Perfectly straight line. Like, defensive wise,
I actually thought he was offside at first inspection.
It was close.
I thought the first look, I thought, why are we even checking? Like, let's just get on with the bloody game.
Well, the problem was there was literally like 18 people all in one little area, in one little line. I didn't know who eventually was the one that headed it because they were all.
The point was, is that the same issue defensively was the same issue offensively when it came to set pieces. Is that Villa are just taller than us? We don't have any tall centre backs.
That's where. Perhaps I'm not blaming Ange because I think the blame that Ange has got is absolutely ridiculous. But could you have brought Felice on earlier? We know he's a tall presence. That's why I talked about potentially starting him throughout last week because of his height presence. In the end, he didn't really get a chance. But what I don't get, we put the ball in the box all game without Felice. Felice comes on. The one ball in the box from Skip, which was awful. I could have done better than that. So I don't get it. I do not get it.
Anyway, let's quickly move on to the winner. At this point in the second half, without Bentancur in midfield, Harry, it did look like, they kind of Villa were getting the better of us in the terms of the midfield park. John McGinn and Kamara, I still thought should have been sent off for various tackles. Even on the yellow card, did quite well, and the ball ended up getting played through to Ollie Watkins, who found his space and scored well. I don't really like Ollie Watkins, to be honest. I don't know why. There's no reason for it. There's just certain players I don't like. I don't really like him. But if you see Haaland score that goal, I think it's talked about a little bit more. Really, really good touch and finish straight away. And that kind of put the game to bed, didn't it?
Yeah, it was nicely taken from Villa. And the difference was in the game, one team done their basics in terms of kept on side and took their chances, and one team didn't. And that was the difference in the football match. Football's harsh. Premier League is harsh. Top flight football is harsh. The smallest things matter, whether you take chances or not. We didn't. They did. They won the game. Credit to Ollie Watkins because, he's been blasted in the past, even this season, for not taking all these chances. Very, very clinical. Very good first touch. I still think we could have done more defensively. He was given too much space. But credit to him, he's still done well. If Villa are find it easy to score past us, I do worry about next week against Manchester City and facing the likes of Haaland. But that's another story. We get on to that. No, too easy. Well taken goal.
Perfect, mate. And Wynnie, I'll come to you last. Just quickly, there was far too many Cruyff flicks and little touches and little back heels going on in this game. And it worked well at the start. You know, there was some really, really nice touches. I already talked about one of them. But it got to a point where that's why I want to talk to you, because I know you're a big advocate for Bryan Hill. And I felt like he was all right today. Like, he showed glimpses. But if anybody watched our FIFA stream the other day, I bet you this, Wynnie. He was watching Bryan Hill is like watching me play FIFA. I spin
100%.
around, I turn around, I make good runs, but I do not pull the trigger. And that was his problem today, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, I think there's a place for him in our squad. I really do, because I think with a bit of coaching from Ange himself, he can mould. Bryan Hill is such a mouldable player. Now, we haven't had a good coach for a long time. The last person we had that was a good coach was Mauricio Pochettino. And look what he done to that squad. You know, there was a load of people in there that were okay. You know, like Danny Rose was okay, and he moulded him into this amazing fullback. Dele Alli is a perfect example. Yeah. He was someone who was very mouldable, and Pochettino turned him into this fantastic player. So Bryan Hill under Ange, I think there's definitely a player in there, but he did disappoint me today. A lot of energy. And again, his final product was pants. There was a load of times when it was just a simple ball across the box, like across the 6-yard box, and he was cutting it back too much, and the defender was clearing it. But these are things that can be worked on. There's definitely a player in there, obviously, because I think that Spain obviously see it, and I think back in Spain he's got a lot of admirers, and obviously he's been on loan. I think it was Seville that he went on loan to, and he had admirers there. And obviously the team that he came from. So again, as you alluded to, it was very much like watching you play FIFA. All the the little tricks, the flicks, get into the box, shooting opportunity, and absolutely shit your pants. And that's what we've seen with Bryan Hill today. But look, I think there's a player in there. But alluding back to what his main criticism is, I do think he needs to bulk up a little bit. I'm not talking about, get absolutely hench, but I think he needs to just bulk up a little bit to be able to hold players off. Because I think that's the main criticism of the minute, and obviously his final product. But I have confidence that Ange can work on that.
Yeah, definitely, mate, definitely. Let's go have a quick round the houses. We'll start with Kallum. I want to talk really quickly before we move on to the Man City game. I want to talk about Jermaine Defoe. Because it's come out this week, with all the things going on with City, Chelsea.
Where's the popcorn?
Come out this week that Spurs may be having some issues when it comes to a transfer that was done. Did I read 2007? Was that right?
2008.
Years ago.
2008.
Yeah, 2008. And they want to talk about what happened then when we used an unlicensed
agent. Oh. Well, this is why I fucking hate the Times. They are a tabloid I do not like, but they've been doing an investigation for the last 2 bloody years into this. And when you think about it, like, it was reviewed back then and it got thrown out. And now this coming up, and there's been talk of Redknapp involved, Levy involved, Defoe involved, all of that stuff. Johnny, no, I'm sure we can relegate Arsenal for something else one way or another. But all of this stuff, if they do us for one thing, I mean, the only reason I can see this being such a pain in the backside is that it's taking so long to get City and Chelsea done for it because they've got 50,000 charges against them. They've got to have a lawyer check each individual one. We're going to get one against us. And there's so much that you can read into it. And a lot of it's going to be tabloid talk. A lot of it's going to be media. And until there's an official charge that is bought, then we're not going to know what's going to happen. But if we do get done for it, then a lot of other teams are going to be found out within the next year and a half, I think. And we won't be the only ones to suffer. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I'll be really brief. I said this to Wynnie the other day. I think that if Spurs get punished in any way, like Everton got punished for one issue, then I would hate to think of the punishment that City should, and I will use that word, should get for their 100 plus cases. But, we move on. Wynnie,
they're going to end up in the Irish North League, mate. They're going to end up in the...
What's your quick thoughts on it, Wynnie?
I just think it's just stupid. Like, we're talking about obviously things in the past, and it's so far in the past that it's borderline like ridiculous. If we're going to start doing that, we've got to traipse up records from, let's investigate everyone. Do you know what I mean? Let's literally just investigate every team, and I'm sure you will find something from 15. If you span back 15 years, you'll find something for every club that they could have done, or they should have done differently, or they've done, that may, there could be something that may have been legal then, but it's illegal now. Then do them as well. I think it's stupid. Obviously it's different to the things that Everton are being punished for, and Man City are potentially going to be punished for in the future. I just think it's bullshit. And do you know what? Fuck it, just relegate us. At least we'll have some fun in the Championship. Do you know what I mean? I don't care.
Win some games, yeah.
Change
up a little bit. Johnny said that was a good watch, that FIFA stream. I'm also stressed if I play with other people. That's why I never do, Wynnie.
Yeah, try playing with Luke, mate. It's fucking impossible.
Individually, let's see who's the better player, shall we? But anyway.
Are you calling me out?
Oh, that's a little
Is that
dig.
what you're doing? Right, okay. I'm putting it out here now. We are going to have a game 1v1.
Yes.
We will both be Tottenham to make it fair, and we will stream it on Park Lane Podcast. We don't know when, but we'll do it in the near future because you have called me out, and you know what? I am going to beat you.
How confident are you feeling, Wynnie? How much were you beating by?
Mate, this bloke doesn't shoot. He never shoots. So all I've got to do is score, and I've won. It's as simple as that.
Fair enough. I'll leave my talking on the imaginary football pitch. But anyway, H, really quickly, what's your thoughts on this?
Absolutely ridiculous, and I hate to use the word corrupt, and it'd probably be clipped somewhere, but it is borderline corruption. It's happened before my lifetime. I'm nearly 15 years old now. That is ridiculous. Like, I can't remember who said it, Kallum or Wynnie. I think it's Kallum. We go over everything. I'm sure we find something dodgy that every single club. It's ridiculous. Man, focus on Manchester City with over 100 charges. Focus on Chelsea, FFP since Roman Abramovich. They should be. And I understand that it takes longer, but Premier League should be all out on that. I think Everton's punishment is unjust. And I think potentially if we get anything from it, that'll be unjust as well. So it always seems like the Premier League are looking to punish, same with the financial fair play rules, to punish the small clubs and benefit the big clubs. And that is not the way it should work. The advantage should be, or it should be fair, or the advantage with the smaller team who have the financial difficulties. The punishment for Everton is just unjust. It's just ridiculous. It's way over the top. A fine at best, not a points deduction. If we're going down that route, then City should be relegated. It's as simple as that. So poor from the Premier League, but they set the standard now. They should be absolutely getting on with it. Otherwise, I'll be on their back before you know it. So get on with it.
I think you're right. I think it's set a really dangerous precedent with Everton's punishment. And I think,
I think Premier League bottled it. I think they bottled it.
I think, I think they potentially did it right, but they have to continue that. And
which they won't though. They won't.
It has. I said this to Wynnie, didn't I, Wynnie, the other day? I think it has to be a minimum of 60-point deduction. Like that's like a minimum.
It'd be a fine.
Yeah.
It'd be a £50,000 fine, which City would probably negotiate to half that. That doesn't mean anything to them.
They've got that in their back pocket.
Yeah. Exactly. But
Guardiola carries that around with him on match day. That's what he said to Nunes yesterday. Look, I got 50k. What you got?
Okay.
Right. So, Wynnie, let's talk about Thursday night, because this week it's going to be on Thursday, but Thursday night we're going to be streaming and of FIFA. And we are working, I don't know if it'll be this week, but at some point we are working to have some, I just stuttered for ages then.
Okay.
Oh my god! I think I've broken. Someone needs to reset me. I think we're.
I'm not pressing your reset button. Your reset button, 'cause I don't know where it is.
Exactly.
This is getting too dark for my liking.
Anyway, we're working on some form of camera, so one of us will have a camera on during the stream. Working on that. Maybe not this week, but at some point we will have that sorted. But tell us about what's coming up this week.
Yeah, obviously episode 2 of Feliz Navidad. Episode 1 was, for a start, it wasn't too bad. There was no, in terms of the system itself, there was no bugs or anything, and I think everything ran smoothly because everyone was commenting and all the regulars were there.
So the first stream didn't go live.
Apart from the first stream, yeah. So we did it and we were like, what's going on here? I was talking away, I was doing my business, and then you just popped up and went, we're not live. And I was like, great, yeah, cool. I've just said all that stuff for no reason. But yeah, so, bugs aside, that little bug, it worked well. And, I think it could be a good little addition to Part Lane Pod. Obviously, we're going to try and get it on a regular day. Obviously, it's been a bit skewy for the last 2 weeks, but if we can find a regular slot that we can both do, we'll aim for that. But yeah, so Thursday next week, episode 2, and like I say, it got some positive reception. People like Barney and Jay were in there, Johnny obviously as well. So thank you for coming along, and make sure you come along on Thursday as well.
Yes,
I'm banned this Thursday. I'm not allowed back. I was too mean to Luke.
That's Thursday, 8:30 p.m. And just to kind of round up what happened. So if you weren't watching, we're obviously starting in Division 5 in co-op seasons. We have already been promoted to Division 4, but Johnny was pretty much the only one watching at that point. We managed to bottle winning the league twice. So come and see if we can win the title. We've still got 4 games left to win the Division 5 title.
So Thursday will be our first game. We'll win the title. You've heard it here first.
And then Johnny said, yeah, Spurs looks the same as Real Madrid, except when they play Arsenal. So yeah, we won't talk about that one either. But yeah, join us, and there's a little tweak to it. We bring on random players if Valise doesn't score and things like that. So we had Eric Dyer and Emerson Royale and Sarr playing striker, so that was quite good.
Oh, for goodness sake.
And Jay said, look forward to it. I'll be half an hour early to write something like that.
Why change a habit of a lifetime, Jay?
Actually, Jay, you can't, because it won't go live until we click the button. So you'll have to be on time. But yeah, 8:30. So make sure you join us. Right, let's talk Manchester City.
Yay.
Kallum, with that shake of the head, my friend, I'm coming straight to you first. Tell me what you're thinking about Man City next Sunday at the Etihad.
If we play like we did today, I reckon we will not be having a happy talk next Sunday. Let's put it that way. It concerns me. I mean, even when City have played crap the last couple of weeks, somehow they're still managing to knock out wins, and it shows. Or even a draw like against Liverpool yesterday. So I'm really concerned. Someone like Doku up against Porro, he's going to get skinned alive, to be honest. And then when you've got Royale and Davis, if it does go the same at centre-back against Haaland, yeah, it really concerns me, because the only player we should have back next weekend, I believe, is Basuma. That's about it. So I don't feel confident at all, mate. If we do get something, then happy days, but a draw at most. I think Etihad, even though we always say we win against them, it's usually our place. Etihad, we have suffered some big losses. Like, what was it, 2-0 up last season, and we lost 4-2 in the end as well. So I don't feel happy about how close it is, to be honest, mate. I reckon 4 losses in a row.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of people are saying that a draw would be a hell of a result. Winnie, how are you feeling about the prospect of Ben Davies and Emerson Royale marking Erling Haaland?
I think, look, I think I may contradict, what we've all expressed on this podcast today, and I think we probably do need to bring Eric Dyer back in for that game, just to try and keep tabs on Erling Haaland aerially, because we know. Yeah, but look, we've seen it today. They couldn't even keep hold of Pau Torres. So
yeah.
I think it depends what angle you want to go at. Do you know what? I'll say something quite bold here. I genuinely thought we were fantastic today. I really do. I think that was one of our best performances so far this season. We kept an Aston Villa side who everyone are absolutely, pardon my French, wanking over this season.
Any superlative there, and you went for wanking.
Yeah. Do you know what? They're literally everyone is. Villa are getting so many plaudits this season, and rightfully so, because they're having a good season. But we've kept them quiet today, and we have absolutely battered them. You've only got to look as far as the stats, the possession. Yeah, we were the home side, but still, we absolutely battered them. So, do you know what? Let's keep the same team. Obviously, Basuma's available. Let's put Basuma back in. I'm assuming for Bentancur, because Bentancur is probably not going to be available. We're still yet to find out the extent of that injury. But let's put Basuma straight swap for Bentancur and keep the exact same team, because I think it worked well today. The high line, okay, it may not work so well against, as H said, Doku, and we've talked about Haaland and whatever amazing player they can put in the mix. But let's just keep the same team and hopefully play the same as we did. And look, we may do you know what? As long as we don't get battered, I'll be happy. For me, City is one of those games. It's just a free hit. You just take what you get, and hopefully you don't get battered. And if you can sneak something out of it, that's fantastic. So I think that's how I'm seeing. I'm in my head. I'm already, resigned to the fact that we've lost 4 on the spin. But I could be wrong. But I'd play the same team. Fuck it.
Yeah, we don't really have much of a choice, to be quite honest with you.
That's true.
We've got to deal with the hands the cards that we're given, right? But H, do you kind of resonate with that? Because for me, like, I don't want this to be a thing, right? Because everyone's like, oh, you're too positive. But I genuinely think, like, whenever we play City, like, I'm looking back to Champions League nights. I'm looking back to a couple of seasons ago, we beat them at the Etihad and came from, conceding quite late on to win the game. And I think that we can get a draw. I think we can get a draw 100% without showing my cards too early on my score prediction. But I think we can.
I can't agree with you.
You can. What
No, I don't. I look at the positives today, and I was one of the first ones to go, do you know what? We're on the right road. It's not what we wanted, but let's not overreact. City, I'm trying to. There's no positive for it. Like it's 4 losses. No, I don't think Johnny's crazy, because we will play a high line in that game up against Doku, Grealish, Haaland. We could be eaten alive. I'm not going to give my score prediction yet, but for me, it's damage limitation. It's can we keep our goal difference as a positive? And for me, the aim from now until January is to keep ourselves in and around that top 6, 7, so we can go again and have a really strong second half of the season. Because I think we can still get sitting here right now, get top 4, top 5, if the recruitment is right in January, and the hand is dipped into the pocket, but also money is spent accordingly, and really clever recruitment, which we've seen in recent years, to be fair. Then we can believe we push on when we get the players back. So I'm not really concerned where we are now, but 4 losses in a row. Let's focus on the next game, which is West Ham at home.
Yeah. I want a yes or no from everyone. If we win against City, we should do a sing along next week of "I'm Loving Big Ange" instead.
If we draw to City, I'll be singing. Draw. Then
I'll do it naked. That's my promise.
What are you drinking today, Winnie? Because I'm slightly concerned.
It's just Coca-Cola, mate.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, with a shit ton of vodka in it.
Yeah, it sounds like it, doesn't it? But Winnie will keep his clothes on. But we'll do a little sing along if that's the case. Maybe we'll open with it like a Christmas carol.
If we draw, I'll be singing. So bring it on.
Fair enough. Do you know what? Fuck it. I'm not going to bore you all with a lot of Man City chat. Let's get straight into the score predictions. Harry Scarf, what are you going for?
I hate to be negative. I'm going to go with 5-1 City. I think it really will be damage rotation. And that's being kind, I think.
Big Dave has gone for 2-0 City.
Okay.
Just so everyone's aware. I will go next. 2-2. 2-2 draw.
2-2. Where are we going to get 2 goals from, Luke?
Heung-min Son loves a goal against Man City.
If he can stay on side. If he can stay on bloody side.
Yeah, I do think Son will score. I think we'll go 5-0 down and Son will get a consolation. A bit like Newcastle last year.
Johnny said that he'll also sing along if we win. Barney has gone 3-1 City. Wynnie? Oh, is that what you're going for?
Yeah. Me and Barney, great minds think alike.
3-1 City.
And Thomas as well, yeah.
Kallum?
I was going to go 3-1, so I'll go 4-1 City. Can't have the same.
Fucking hell, you lot, man. Jesus.
Well, I was saying 6-1 all week, but I've tried to bring it down to 5-1.
You're a bit conservative there, Harry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It took a while for me to convince myself.
Oh my God, he's wrecking the gaff.
Are you sure you ain't been drinking?
Harry Kane's just come back to bite me. Look.
He's not.
You
He's
need
not
to calm down, you do.
Jesus Christ.
I know we lost.
Why do you say that? My Kane picture fell down on me the other day, actually.
Oh,
Coming to haunt you.
I know. It's ghost.
Second thing fell down in my house today.
To be honest, I was saying we needed a bloody striker today. If we'd have put them chances away, 4-5-1, we should have beaten Villa.
By half time, I think, Kallum, we could have been 3-1 up.
Yeah. I hate to agree with Johnny, but yeah, playing Son as an up front, it's too much pressure on him. He's not.
He's stronger.
Who else do we put there?
No, that's the thing. We are genuinely lacking now. I was singing Johnson's praise during the summer, but even he's not got enough end product to him. I know he's young, but...
Are you joking? Are you boys smoking something that I'm not? Because
I thought Johnson was
good
awful today. I thought Johnson was probably the worst player on the pitch today.
I think that Son, the only problem with Son is he gets frustrated. And when he gets frustrated and the ball comes to him, kind of late on in games, that's when he tends to flop himself a little bit. At the start of games, when he's on fire, he's good. I think
he can't do it on his own, though, Luke. He can't do it on his own against 11 world-class Manchester City players. We just don't have
it on his own.
Hey?
Can I also just say as well, it's been mentioned a few times on here. I'm not sure if any of you guys said it, but I know it was said in the comments about Kulusevski in the number 10 role. Hold my hands up. I'm completely wrong. He can 100% play there. He was fucking incredible today in that role.
He was better than on the wing because he slows the counter-attack down when playing on the wing.
Massively, I'm going to hold my hands up and say that because I was one of the people that said, look, I genuinely don't think he can play there. But 100%, for me, we need to put Kulusevski and keep him in that number 10 role, 100%.
Out of the front four, he was the only one who did anything today. The other three, Hill was okay, and started that Cruyff turn bollocks and all the fancy shit. Son just got frustrated, and Johnson, I mean, there must have been 3 or 4 chances where he just had to tap in today. And I mean, he's got a lot of pace, but he looked like he was stuck in bloody mud and all that. They was all shit. Simple as that. Yeah. Our front line were awful today, and our midfield were only good until Bentancur went off, and then freaking.
I'll always admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong about Kulusevski. When we can 100% play in there, and I think he should do while Maddison's absent. But I also want to say a special mention as well to Lo Celso because I thought he was brilliant today as well. I know obviously.
Winnie, what would your midfield three look like against City?
I'd play the same, but I'd obviously replace Bentancur unless he makes a miraculous recovery. If Bentancur's okay, I'd play the same 3. If he isn't, which it probably doesn't look like he's going to be, Basuma for Bentancur straight swap and keep the midfield 3 as it is.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if Ben is out and Basuma's fit, Basuma can play the more deeper role, and it would then
100%.
give Lo Celso license to do it. Because I mean, remember he scored his first Premier. I mean, this is only his second Premier League goal today. He scored his first against City, and that's with a late run into the box. So
Also,
fuck it, why not give him a chance?
On the back, and that's on the back of a good performance for Argentina as well.
Yeah. My midfield three would probably be Højbjerg, Basuma, and Kulusevski in that number 10 role, because I think you have to be more conservative.
Maybe.
So you mean negative? Negativo!
I think we should double up as well on both fullbacks, that we play two banks, a bit like what Conte done, because City potentially, again, we talk about that overlaps, but I'm have my defensive mindset on. That's just the way I play. You Football Manager, FIFA, I play as defensive as
I get it. I agree with it. We probably do need to be a bit more conservative because Man City are.
And we play with a high line and we'd be punished. Stop the goal.
The problem is,
I felt like Lo Celso could do that today. I felt like that's what he was doing. He was playing slightly.
Lo Celso was okay today. He had a good first half, and it's good to see. Hopefully, I'm wrong about it. I still don't think he can cut it for this league, but he looked good.
If I'm honest, I think the way we are at the minute, and the way we are literally decapitated with injuries, I think we need to fight fire with fire, and I think we genuinely need to just attack.
No.
Yeah.
We do. Because if we sit, if we sit back and sit back and sit back, we'll probably hold City. We'll hold City for maybe, even if it's 0-0 at half time, we'll hold them, and then they'll get their goal about the 55th minute, and then the floodgates will just open, and we'll probably be 60 minutes in without having a shot on target. And then we'll be talking about it on the pod going, oh, okay, well, it took us 70 minutes to have a shot on target. Whereas if we play
that's right. We kept ourselves in the game. And that's why perhaps in games like this, you leave your best players, especially attacking players, on the bench.
It will never happen. Under Postecoglou, it will never happen. He would rather die on his sword in a blaze of glory.
I respect that. But also, what's most important is you come away with the points. And if he isn't willing to budge, it's going to cost him.
We said that last time, and look what Wolves did. Literally, we had one shot up until the 70th minute. Yes, it resulted in a goal, and then we got twatted with two stoppage time goals because of dire ball watching. I know we've already gone over that, but I appreciate what H is saying, and I think it could work, but we've got to actually have something about us where if we do play defensively, we got to then be quick against City, keep the press up and all that. We can't just sit back and let them come on to us because, we'll make one pass which will go wayward, like today where Watkins nearly scored, and we'll just capitulate at the back. It'd be ridiculous.
They're most vulnerable when they're being under pressure. Believe me when I say this. That's how Liverpool play against them. Yeah. That's how we should play against them. They're more vulnerable when you attack.
Yeah, you got to go against them. Simple as that. You can't sit back completely, but you've got to time it right. And one of them ones will be if you do time it right, and if we get like a long ball over the top, we've got to then time the run. That if we're going to get in behind that City defence, we got to stay on side as well. Because if not, they'll just play such a high line where we'll have 4 goals in the net and they'll all be offside again, and we'll just be going, what the hell have we wasted our time for?
We've spent the last 2 or 3 pods, proclaiming how vulnerable we are defensively. And now, obviously we're talking about maybe potentially sitting back at the Etihad trying to soak up pressure.
Winnie, I respect what you're saying, but at the same time, if we play a high line, I think City get into double figures. Haaland scores 4 goals easily. So I know what you mean in terms of pressure defensively, but we have to play deeper. Like, I think today it was our undoing, and City were quick. Doku is already eating Porro alive. Porro be substituted at half time. So I cannot.
Who's going if he gets subbed, who's going right back? Dyer. Is Dyer going right back?
Oh, God.
And Emerson will be moved, and I thought Dyer would have been brought on.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, I don't know anymore.
Anyway, let's recap on our score predictions for everyone. So Dave has gone 2-0 City. Harry's gone 5-1 City. Winnie's gone 3-1 City. Callum's gone 4-1 City. And Luke, myself, has gone for a 2-2 draw. sometimes you've got to be bold to make it happen. But
Sometimes
just
you've got
to
to be
keep
bold.
everyone updated with good spot. Little shout out to my friend up there. Yep. Anyway, in this week's score predictions, nobody got any points.
I was close.
What? Yeah.
I was close if VAR was being kind. One of Son's goals could have stood.
So no one got any points. So this is what happens to the score predictor table. I'm still top, 14, 12, 9, 8 and 8. Callum at the bottom. Harry in third place at the moment. But there was a little bit of action going on in our FPL league. So I will bring up the table now. I'm just going to see if it's been updated. Let's have a look here.
I've had an absolute stinker this week. I've made some changes. Yeah. I brought in DRB. And
I took out DRB.
Yeah, see, I brought him in.
Next week, I brought Doku in for DRB because I think Doku's going to have an excellent game for a start.
I've already got Doku in there, thankfully.
I had a good Saturday today, 41 points, but only 10 points today.
No, yeah, I had an absolute stinker.
And I had 6 players in there today as well. That's what's frustrating. Matty Cash got 0, which I'm glad.
Dave is now top of the league on 777 points. Brainy Paul is in second with 766. So Dave has now an 11-point lead over Brainy Paul. Luke Story in third. And then we'll go to the rest of the hosts. So Jack Johnson, funnily enough, has fallen all the way down to 7th. But Wynnie is in 8th with 734. I'm in 9th with 724. So 10 points behind.
I'm holding on to 12th.
Yeah. Harry's in 12th. 653.
Come on.
So that's like 71-point difference between me and Harry.
Yes.
And then Kallum is no longer last on 641. So
you're not far off. But I did have a better week, apparently.
You had a bit of a poor week because you were only 35 and Harry got 51. So you're a bit of catching up to do, but you are nearly 20 points ahead of last place. So
can I just say, Dave's got Saka in his team and as captain.
Oh,
we need to kick him
horrible
off.
Git.
We need to kick him off.
Unbelievable traitor.
To be fair, I've got Saka to leave around.
I can't say anything. I've got Saka in my lineup and he's captain next week.
Boys, what are you doing? Come on.
There we go.
All about the points, baby. Anyway.
Yeah, you've got to be nasty to win this game. Dave's playing nasty and he's top, so there you go.
Exactly. But Harry, you're slowly dropping down the FPL. You need to...
Yes, I know. I hate it,
making so many subs, man.
Well, yes, I've already done my free transfer, and I think it keeps me up at night. It drives me absolutely bonkers. I end up making it worse.
But you spend about 20 points a week on
transfer. I know that. Yes, I know. But it doesn't make that much of a difference. I only probably spent 200 on transfers.
I'm something else I brought in. I brought in Palmer as well, but that was a silly choice.
But the annoying thing is, I got 24 points on my bench this week. That's probably more than the whole back line.
Such is the life of FPL.
I hate it.
And Johnny said Saka got an assist, so
yes.
some points there. Anyway, let's kind of wrap this up. So we will be back on next Sunday to discuss the result of that City game. Depending on the result will depend on who actually decides to turn up, but I will definitely be here.
I can make it.
Yeah, catch us on Thursday night. 8:30 for the link. Stay tuned. Make sure you get the notification bell on Twitter and also on YouTube so you know when that link comes out, because it doesn't come out until we are live. So the moment that we are live, we'll post it on all social
media. Why's that?
Huh?
Why is that?
Oh, because of the way we do it.
Oh, okay.
We're pretty much computer illiterate, so we can only do it through the PlayStation.
Okay, right. I see. Okay.
So it's easier to just go live and post a link anyway.
Yeah, no, it is.
So, make sure you catch us for that show. We'll be the first people to ever win a trophy with Spurs. And Hugo
I've done it on Football Manager. Come on. I told you that last week.
I've done it on FIFA. I won the Champions League.
Anyway, you might see Hugo Lloris playing up front. But just want to go around the houses and thank everybody for being on today. So, Harry, thank you for coming on after your big day.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Hopefully be back here discussing, well, no, let's forget that. 2 weeks' time, hopefully coming back and discussing the win. If you want to follow me, you can there, Harry Scarf22, football content creator and YouTuber. If you want to check my channel out, Scarfy Spurs will do it. I'm currently learning Spanish because the aim is long-term to reach out to fans all along the world and transfer an individual channel and TikTok page in Spanish, which is, I think, quite exciting, but that's the long term, 2-3 years time. So
Impressive.
That's the long term aim. Thank you. And if you want to check out my weekly live show, because I'm back hosting my own show, very handy, isn't it? Of course. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. Kallum's one of the guests on there, along with Josh Hughes from the Mail Sport, and 2 other wonderful guests making their debut as well. So tune in and don't forget, obviously, to like and subscribe to the podcast. I'll be back next Sunday, and hopefully we can have Dave soon as well. That'd be nice.
Perfect. And Kallum,
I missed my debate. I missed my debate with Dave. It has to be said.
Oh, thanks for having me on again, mate. Yeah, I wish I didn't have to relive it again tomorrow night, but I will try and be more happy and all that, to be honest. I will try and be more positive for H's show than I have been tonight. So, yeah, as always, CallumStubbs97 on Twitter, and hopefully next weekend we'll be discussing something more positive, if not 2 weeks' time or maybe at Christmas.
Exactly. Actually, I want to talk about Christmas really quickly.
Probably next year.
Is that I'm looking at organising a Christmas Spurs quiz. So watch out for that on socials. There'll be a little bit of a fun quiz. Everybody will have some kind of Christmas outfit on. Yeah, we'll see if we can schedule that before Christmas, but I also have a lot on. So let's see what we can do.
Is one of the questions, what's the name of the unlicensed agent that's in the 2008 case for Spurs?
Don't know. I'll find out what the questions are, and then I'll let you know. Anyway, Wynnie, how can everyone find you?
Yeah, Wynnie1991 on Twitter, and obviously Parkline Pod Twitter admin. As Thomas rightly mentioned, there, I was quite late with my Monday controversial tweet, but stick around tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled for tomorrow's Monday night or Monday day controversial tweet, and I've got a feeling that it might be Matty Cash related. Just a little spoiler alert.
So it wasn't today's tweet, wasn't the controversial tweet then about Matty Cash?
No, I'll find something even worse to tweet, mate. Don't you worry.
Fair enough. I'll leave you to get us banned from Twitter. Actually, to be fair, if Andrew taking other people that on Twitter, then we can do it.
I think we're good.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you all very, very much for tuning in. Catch us Thursday night, 8:30, as we do our FP24 content. Otherwise, we'll see you next week, next Sunday at 7 on YouTube. If you're watching any kind of podcast platform, make sure you hit the 5-star button and leave us a review. Make sure you're listening all the way through, watching all the way through, and also towards the end of the week, we'll also have a Man City preview out for you. But until next time, a big come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.